Cobra Kai is one of only a handful of exceptional shows that I still truly appreciate. I realize numerous others feel something very similar. It truly raised the Karate Kid establishment and in season 4 actually satisfied its own name. This show keeps on being great. There are teens in the show, and they truly do have to a greater extent a daily existence as opposed to simply karate. This season simply shows a greater amount of what their identity is. It shows the children there are examples to learn on the off chance that they do things wrong. Let's review all 10 episodes once. Episode 1 is Let's Begin. I thought this was an extraordinary beginning to the season. They set up the coming season with relative quickness. I think Daniel and Johnny are being dealt with right. They're both attempting to chip away at being better, however, each being caused all their own problems on occasion by not having the option to escape their own particular manner. It's appropriate that they ought to fix their relationship, yet it can't and shouldn't occur excessively quickly. They are what their identity is, and it invests in some opportunity to defeat that. Thank heavens they have their understudies. The extraordinary first episode to the season. But the real highlights were the Kreese and Terry scenes. I liked that they subverted our expectations at first, but by the end of the episode we see glimmers of the Terry we were hoping for. The Robbie spotlight was also great. Johnny's son being the lead Cobra Kai student is fitting, and the choreographed fight where he took everyone down was very well done. Can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings. Episode 2 is First Learn Stand. The Daniel-Johnny stuff keeps on being amazing and the preparation they did together was astounding. The main issue I have is adolescent dramatization drama. It weakens the more deeply story that is about Johnny and Danny. I got the thing between their children, yet this season is altogether too a lot. Aside from that, generally an excellent episode. Episode 3 is Then Learn Fly. The sensei take their opponent's kids out for a twist, bringing about a few cool minutes. Especially Samantha's jumping scene. The new storylines are growing great and appearing to stream with the energy of the show. The beneficial thing about this episode, which is the best one up until this point, is the show's refocusing and turning into its own personal season rather than endeavors to restart from the others. What's more than the new person, Urkel's son, has pertinence, interfacing with not simply Daniel's skinnier child, however Johnny's child Robbie, a significant person along these lines, one of the fundamental characters thus, who can say for sure possibly Jaden Smith's surrogate actually has some value. He unquestionably woke up in this episode and doesn't feel as constrained anymore. Extended. Episode 4 is Bicephaly. The plot of the Cobra Kai of the two characters was dreary. Kenny, Tori and Terry. I felt frustrated about Kenny and Tori in this episode. The battle between Robbie and Terry was great, yet just that. Presently, in Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang, it was seriously intriguing. I get Johnny, it would likewise resemble that assuming that happened to me. The two sections were great, yet I favored Miguel and Daniel more. Kenny and Tyler's sign drive scenes were cool. I admit I felt disdain for Falcon and the other two young men from Miyagi-Do Hancock. Furthermore, toward the finish of the episode one would rather avoid it. They got into a battle once more, correct? I would rather avoid it. Without a doubt. Yet, after that it was such a ton better. The scene with Terry and Kreese at Johnny Daniel Dojo was extraordinary. This made me truly anticipate the following episode. Episode 5 is Match Point. Johnny makes this show and this episode was all his. I loved their confrontation. The manner in which it takes us back to that battle from part 1, we as a whole adored so much, and then we see this rematch 30 years after the fact and the completion, most awesome aspect. I in a real sense laughed uncontrollably. I didn't see that coming by any stretch of the imagination, yet it was so exemplary of both of them and their dynamic as grown-ups. Love it. I cherished how they watched Bloodsport at the drive-in and the gesture to Chicago's glory of love. You clearly must be from that time too. Partake in a ton of this. Be that as it may, overall, another nicely done episode. Please, somebody kindly requests that Tori to smile. Episode 6 is Kicks Get Chicks. Amazing, another excellent episode. The appointed Authority's initial scene was excellent and made me chuckle just after we had the sensei's response to the new terms. I adored that scene, which likewise made me snicker. The enrolling scenes for Eagle Fang nearly killed me with giggling in light of the fact that I love Johnny's person. Presently emerging from the interesting scenes, the scene in the store between Robbie, Daniel, and Terry was tense. Is Robbie returning to Miyagi-Do? I figure it will happen like Daniel said, perhaps in the competition, who can say for sure? Also, above all, Aisha is back. I didn't expect this, I was stunned when I saw her. I tried to avoid Sam in this episode. I generally thought the person was alright, yet in this episode, I really tried to avoid her without a doubt. I thought Tori's little plot was cool. Episode 7 is Minefields. The episode was great. I loved the thriller vibe utilized in the library. Kenny hitting the young men was fulfilling. Would rather avoid the Eagle Fant preparing scene with the new young lady. Truly, kick where it really hurts? The scenes at the Cobra Kai dojo were incredible. The person's shortcomings were intriguing. Kenny bringing down Robbie was lovely. He's growing up. The last scene including Kreese and Terry was tense, Kreese showing who's boss. Episode 8 is Party Time. It was a decent episode, yet with one major issue, Miguel and Sam. I tried to avoid them in the episode. Presently, for the remainder of the episode, the scenes at Daniel's family house were fun. Anthony, at last, turning into a decent individual, and that person's sister failed to remember his name, Daniel's relative. It's been fun as well. The scene including Johnny, Terry, and Kreese was extraordinary. In the end, Johnny was behind the scenes, Miguel helping him, and the passionate charge that this scene went through when Johnny spoke Robbie's name toward the finish of the sentence. Miguel crying, invigorating. I cherished Robbie and Tori together, in spite of the fact that I truly would rather avoid the past couples highlighted on the show. I truly enjoyed this one. From the dance to the vehicle scene toward the finish of the episode, they have chemistry. Episode 9 is The Fall. Unsurprising, yes, but it was as yet a decent episode that was progressed nicely. This episode is all competition, however it was progressed admirably. And loads of fun. Presumably not a ton of shocks, but rather that is alright as long as it's progressed admirably. I felt like the perfect individuals won, and in the correct way. You didn't have 3 weak beginners going to the last second against the best of the veterans, or anything moronic like that. I really do like having 2 episodes devoted to the All Valley. I love having the expansion of weapons, ability, and young men versus young men, young ladies versus young ladies. The main thing I could have done without was Carrie Underwood. Was trusting you're really great would have been playing since it hasn't been highlighted in the series yet. Something alluding to the 80s or had something to do with the establishment. Episode 10 is The Rise. Silver has been a surprisingly decent expansion to this show. He was one of only a handful of exceptional characters that really felt like he remained in character the entire way through. I generally despised Kreese on the grounds that he is a totally one-layered person, so I'm happy he's away until further notice. Again, the connection among Daniel and Johnny is shaky. Best case scenario, 2 instructors who accept that their way is ideal. What they neglect to acknowledge is that any evident educator enables their students to track down their own particular manner. I'm not a devotee of standing by, but rather season 4 merited the pause. I was energized when I heard Terry Silver would be returning, thus happy the compassing was nice for him. It was anything but a cheesy passage Terry needed to gain from his mix-ups, though Kreese was about retribution and demonstrating something extraordinary. Last competition, new characters, and the turns in the last episode made things fascinating. I like how this show sometimes advises us that they're not some modest lethargic compassing show or child agreeable just when they drop a couple swear words and push the limits. Great job. Presently the long wait for season 5. This season finale has its ups and downs, but it was still pretty amazing. Really amazing action and really amazing ending. Definitely the best season finale of Cobra Kai so far.